Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to work on this bracelet, and this bracelet is a continuation of the star bezel that we made last video. So we're going to use those same components and we're going to make this bracelet out of it. Now I put it over my black sweater because I just thought that volcano color Rivoli just looks so gorgeous against black, but I'll take it off and I'll give you a closer look. So here it is. Really pretty. I've done a very intricate band on this. It's a sort of involved but very easy, but really pretty, very sparkly. Goes with here's the earring that we made last time. So I'm going to clear the decks, we'll get a materials list going, and we'll get started. Let's get a materials list going. So I just wanted to let you know that I just got a cortisone injection in my right hand because I have a sprained ligament right here. So I'm anticipating that, it's not going to be my best beading. So I'm going to try my best. My hand is stiff and it's a little numb. So I'm going to do my best to make the video really good, but bear with me if I, possibly go out of frame or things don't look as wonderful, or as good as I usually do them. I'm hoping that it will be good enough for you to follow. So just wanted to let you know that, so bear with me. All right, so you're going to need a 14 millimeter Rivoli and two 8.2 millimeter Chatons. So the reason I have these three out is you can use, I want you to pre-bezel them. So you're going to go to the star bezel earrings, and I'm going to link that in the description box below the video. It will be the very first item at the top of the description box so that you'll be able to get to it immediately. So right at the top, so make sure you scroll all the way to the top of the description box so you see that link. It's just the previous video before this one. And I want you to do the bezel, the bezel of the 14 millimeter and the two Chatons, but I don't want you to put the stitch in the ditch on. So leave them just like this. And the reason I took out a few is because you can use the star bezel, you can actually use the Quatrefoil bezel if you want. You just have to adjust where you attach your bands, and I think that it will be pretty easy to do that. We're going to use a plain bezel because I'm trying to minimize my hand using my hand too much, and I have this one already done, and we haven't done a plain one yet, and I'm making this for my girlfriend too. And here are the two little 8.2 millimeter Chatons, and they're all bezeled. So this is essentially what you need right here. So have those at the ready. You need some 3 millimeter Bicones, some 4 millimeter Bicones, some 11/0 seed beads. I have a clasp here. I'm using a magnetic. Here's a little stop bead, size 10 and 12 beading needle. I've got some 8-pound Fireline. Don't forget, again, to check the description box for all sizes, amounts of beads, places where I purchase beads, links to the Oops tray, link for the discount code for my big ring berries mat on the bottom. Any information I forget, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then we'll get started. We're going to connect the smaller unit to the larger unit. So I switched out my units and I switched out my beads because I just couldn't get it to look, non-glary with the gold beads. So I'm going to just demo with these matte beads so it's easier for you to see. So here I've marked 2 beads on my smaller unit that I'm going to use to attach my right angle weave units to. So here I have one here, then there's the ditch, and there's a Delica here. So I'm going to use this one and this one. Just going to sew through this one. I'm going to pick up 3 11/0s and sew through the other side of the bead I'm exiting from. Now I want to get over to this guy, so I'm going to just sew on the diagonal, sew through a Delica on the diagonal. I don't want to go straight across, I don't want to put a thread there, and then through this one. So just, you're always sewing through on the diagonal to move your needle to where you want it to be. Pick up 3 11/0s, sew through the other side of that bead, pop those into place. And now I have 2 units on. I'm going to sew through the side bead and the top bead of that unit, and I'm going to pick up a 4 millimeter bicone I'm going to sew right through like that. Okay, so I'm just going to let you get to that point, and then we'll continue. Okay, we're back. So I just took off my stop bead and I moved my thread. I just moved it out of the way. So here I am. I'm coming out of this 11-0. So I've chosen 2 beads on the larger stone. So here, this one, and this one. Okay. So I'm just going to pick up an 11-0. I'm going to sew through this one. I'll put it down on the mat like that. I'm going to pick up another 11-0 and just sew right through the bead I started with. Just making a right angle weave unit. See? Like that. And I'm going to sew back up through this 11-0. Through the Delica that my unit is exiting from. I just want to get over to this side. So to do that, I just want to, let me just move this around for a second. Okay, I want to get to the bead that I marked on this side. So I'm just going to sew through this one on the diagonal, and then the bead that I marked, like that. Pick up an 11-0. So through this one, pick up an 11-0, so back through the Delica, the marked Delica, to get a unit on this side, and see how it pops the bicone up. Give it a little push, but it's going to sort of sit on top. I just thought that looked pretty. And then I'm going to sew up through this 11-0, pick up a 3mm bicone, sew through the next 11-0. And then I just want to work my way around to this side so I can put a 3mm bicone here. So I'm just going to sew back through the Delica that I marked, you know, the unit that I'm working from, through this one, through the one on the other side that's marked, and then up through this one. So we're just using these units to move the thread around so we can put more beads on. And then through this guy. Now I have that one in place. And then I want to sew back through this one and one on the diagonal if I can get it. So that's the original one that's marked, and then one on the diagonal. And now I'm just going to move my thread out of the way by moving all across on the diagonal. And now I have my connection done. So I hope that was clear. So you're just going to do the other side. Now when you do the other side, don't forget to make sure that whatever you're, where you're putting your connection on, so you can, just pick your 2 beads here, but then when you're connecting it, make sure you're not connecting it here or here. You want to just come directly across. So just make sure you've got that centered, because you don't want to go like that unless you want to make a necklace, which we'll get to. So don't forget to space those, to put that on directly across from the other side of the larger one. Okay, so get that done and then meet me back here and we'll start on the band. Okay, back. So I hope that worked out for you. So I'm going to continue on with this one because I think even the bracelet will be easier to see me demonstrating if I use the matte bead. So let's start the bracelet. So now we have to figure out how to attach the bracelet. So we're going to use some different beads here. So where we use 2 units that were very close to each other here, we're going to separate our units here. So of course you want it to be centered. So do you see I have 1, 2, 3 beads on this side. So this is a sticking out bead, this is where the ditch is, sticking out bead, ditch, sticking out bead, so I'm just going to use this one. So I'm going to be using this bead and this bead, so it's a little bit wider of a connection. So here I'm going to put on so I have about 5 feet of thread on my needle, a stop bead, and maybe about 10-inch tail You can use that too. I've been clipping my thread so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing, but you can leave the thread and use it for your ditch work if you want to do some stitch in the ditch after. So pick up 3 11-ohs, just going around, sort of the same idea. We've just made it a little bit more of a space in between. And then, so here I've put a unit on. I'm just going to sew on the diagonal till I get to this bead right here. So here. Do that one. Now, you know, if you have a, you know, like a better way or a way you'd prefer to attach, go for it. You know, this is just, you know, the way I'm attaching. You know, if it works out better another way for you, please, by all means. Pick up 3, sew through the other side of the bead. You're exiting. And the reason I have a wider one here is because the band is going to be embellished, so it's a little bit wider. So I'm sewing through the side bead and the top seed bead of that last unit, that second unit I put on. This is what it looks like. Okay, let me see what I did here. Okay, going to pick up 3, let me check again, okay, 11-ohs. Going to sew through the other side of the bead I'm exiting from to put another unit on, and then 3 11-ohs. Going to sew through this one. Pick up 3 11-ohs. Sew through the other side of the seed bead you're exiting from. And if it pulls, you know, you can just hold that thread behind you. Now we're just going to sew up through the side seed bead and the top seed bead of that unit. Pick up 3. Sew around the other side of the bead you're exiting from. Now we're going to pick up a 4mm bicone. So I have a line there, a line of beads. So we're doing a little interlace here. So now I'm just going to pick up a bicone, add the bicone in like that. I think it looks better in metallics, but you know, we'll just play with it this way. So here we're going to add another unit on by sewing, picking up 3, sewing through the other side of the bead you're exiting from, both the side seed bead and the top seed bead. Let me just let you get to this point and then we'll continue. Okay. So we're going to pick up 3, put on another unit, pick up 3, sew through this, the top seed bead of that unit, pick up 3, sew through the other side of the bead you're exiting from, sew through the top seed bead and the side seed bead, pick up 3. I know it looks like pretty wonky, you know, right now, but it gets beautiful. Sew through the other side of the bead you're exiting from, and here where we're changing it up a little bit, we're going to put on 2 rows of 3. So 3 seed beads, sew through the top seed bead of the next unit, pick up 3, sew through the other side of the bead you're exiting from, like that. Sew through the side seed bead and the top seed bead. Let me pull that. So I have 1 row here, a bicone, then 2 rows of seed beads. Pick up 3, put on another unit, like that. Time for a bicone. Like that. Pick up 3, sew through the other side of the seed bead, exiting from, up the side and the top, starting to straighten out, pick up 3, put on another unit, and so on. So this is what you're going to do all the way around, all the way down to the end of your bracelet. So I have one, when I'm right here at the chaton, I have one line of beads, 4mm bicone, 2 lines of beads of 4mm, and you can do 2 lines of seed beads, and then a bicone, 2 lines of seed beads and a bicone. That's how you're going to finish the rest of the bracelet. So you're just repeating this over and over again, okay, until you get to the end. So just to remind you that it is really pretty. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. All right, so just get to the end, because we have other embellishing to do. So just keep going until you get to the end of the side. If you want, you can just go ahead and do the other side as well. So add a thread and, add your line of interlace units on, and then come on back and we'll put the clasp on and we'll continue embellishing. I'm coming down to the end of one side, so if you notice I have 5 of my bicones on in the center. So we're going to finish this end. So here's my last bicone. I'm going to put on the little unit right there. I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads. I'm going to sew through the top seed bead of the next unit. Pick up 3. Add those on, just like that. I'm going to sew through the side seed bead and the top seed bead. Now I'm going to grab my clasp, and how did I do this? I took a seed bead, a 3mm bicone, and I went through one end of the clasp. And I took a 3mm bicone and a seed bead, exiting here, so go through this one. And that's how I put it on. I'm going to sew through the side seed bead and across through the bottom and across to the other side. So here you want to reinforce like that. Back up through everybody. Back down on this side. Like that. You can do that again if you want, or just go, I think what we'll do is go across, and then you want to straighten out all these lines. So I'm just going to sew through this one. I'm going to sew through these. Sew down through this bead, across this line of beads. One end to the other. Through this one. Down through this group. Like that. See how that's straightening everybody out? So do that all the way till you get to the end here, and then we'll turn around and we'll put some bicones on the sides. Coming down to the end, so I'm just going to sew through these. And then, because I want to put a bicone here, I'm going to sew through this one, and then I'm going to sew back through my bezel, and this will tighten it up as well. So I'm just sewing on the diagonal through all the beads, the Delicas. And if you have to sew on through a 15-0 on the front, that's fine, as long as you're not racking it out at all. Okay, so so I've come to the marked Delica. Now I'm just going to turn around and sew through this guy. And see how much tighter that is? And it's nice and straight now. Now, if you want to continue embellishing, you can either take a rondelle or a 3mm and pop a 3mm on, and then an 11-0, a 3mm, and 11/0, so you're going to just alternate 3mm and 11/0. If you put a 3mm through everyone, it will just tighten it so much that it'll start to sort of bend out of shape a little bit. So see how it's curving right now, which is perfect. That's exactly how you want it. So you're just going to continue that all the way down. You're going to come around your clasp and do the same thing all the way up to the top here, and then you're going to do it to the other side of your band, and then come on back and we'll continue. Okay, I finished this side, and you just want to sew your threads in at this point. So let's see. So I'm just going to go through the Delica and then go down. Let's see, do I want to go down that way? I guess so. Yeah, so I can go through this one. I'm just going around that right angle weave unit, like this. I don't know, however it works to, you don't want it to go too crazy, getting too much thread in the Delicas, so just, you know, you might want to sew in on the band. Now, you know, it looks pretty weird with this, but, you know, just on its own, it's like nice and dimensional. That would be just a cool bracelet just on its own. I mean, you don't even have to put this part on. So just a thought. I love that. I think that's really pretty. So here it is, and what we'll do next is, if you want to do the stitch in the ditch, I have a thread left over here, so I'm just going to thread my needle. Like that. And I have this thread left over from my, you know, that was on this unit. And if, you know, if you don't, then you'll have to add a thread, and you can just, you know, do your stitch in the ditch at that point. I'm just going to do the stitch. Well, maybe I should just do it in this, being that we have this sort of hybrid going on. All right, so I'm coming out of this Delica. I'm just going to hop over to the next Delica. So skipping the ditch. So here I'm coming out of here, skipping the ditch, sewing through the next bead, pick up a 11/0, coming out of here, just popping over to the next 11/0, Delica, popping on again, like that. At this point, I think there's like a lot going on there, so I would just, let's see, should we put one more on? Well, let's give it a try. There we go. We'll put another. We'll see if it's too much. Will it bump? See, I think that's too much. I think that's why I left it off on the other one. So what I did on this one was, on the other one, was I just continued to sew around the Delicas until I got to the other side. Hold on a minute. Let me get myself organized here. There we go. Okay, so I'm exiting here, so I'm just going to sew on the diagonal until I get to the other side. And where's my ditch? Okay, there it is. So here, oops. I just want to get to this bead right here, this one. So here, just sewing everything on the diagonal. You know, I'm just making sure it's directly across from my other stitches in the ditch. One, you know what I mean. I'm going to sew through this one. And this one. Got a lot of threads going on here. And this one. So now I have all the stitch in the ditch on that side. I'm just going to take off my I'll just do this side. I'll have to add one to do the stitch in the ditch in the middle, but just do, you know, stitch around, skipping, you know, wherever you need to skip so that that when you put your stitch in the ditch on, it's nice. Oh, I got white out on my finger. It sits nicely and they're, you know, evenly spaced. Okay? All right, so that was fun. It was a little crazy. This one is really very pretty. I mean, I think this would be pretty too if all my bezels were, it would be much more casual if my bezels were done in, you know, these matte beads as well. But here you go. There's your bracelet. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to make the other green one for my girlfriend. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll do some kind of necklace, you know, with lots of sparkly bits on it coming up. All right? Okay, so take care, and I'll see you in the next video.